So you're saying that I'm late, but you're in it too. So now officially we're all late.
No, we're not because we're live.
Oh. Hey guys, I'd like to welcome you back to the Mad Maker Show. My name is Eloy, and today we're going to be interviewing Bad to the Bone, Daniel Harju, which we got a bunch of questions really we have to ask the guy. So we're going to get to it in just a second. Just want to say briefly, we call this the Mad Maker Show. We interview people from around the world. It's a great thing because we actually get to, talk to people that we otherwise would not. You'd have to travel by foot, by train, boat, who knows, a long journey to reach them and get the goodies. So we interview people that make things from different materials with their hands, their creativity. And so these people are unique and different. A lot of you guys out there, and by the way, for you guys out there that are watching, you know this because you guys are the same thing, right? So we're all buddies and stuff. But for folks that don't know, there's an actual community out there of people that sprang out in recent times, within decades time, probably. I'm not sure. And they make things, and they're what was that?
Thank you, Internet.
Thank you, Internet. Yeah, I mean, come on. So, boy, that's what we're in. We're in that community, and they're awesome people because the creativity just keeps bouncing ideas, solutions to problems that one might have. So that's what this is all about. We call them mad makers because, frankly, they're insane. They don't just sit up, in the morning, put on their shoes, and walk out the door and do a normal. No, they don't do that. They roll off the bed, scrape across the floor, look at the shadows on the walls, and it's just nuts. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. JP?
Yes, I am here as always with my man crafting mug. Today I'm sporting Sarah's Wartooth design shirt. That's a new starting for me, isn't it? My YouTube channel is JP Woodwork. My Twitter and Instagram is JP_Woodwork. I'm 1/5 of the Makers International podcast. Website is makersinternationalpodcast.com. Both websites are given or loaned to us or sponsored to us by Steve Nealon of Harnealmedia. Website is harnealmedia.com. I want to give a quick shout out to Nate from A Young Man's Workshop, since this is a interview show or spotlight type show. He's actually approaching 2,000 subscribers rather rapidly. I think he needs a little over 50 to go, and I know he's got quite a good interview that he did at Maker Central with some pretty big names, and I know he's working on the edit for that as we speak. So that video should be out pretty damn soon. He does these sort of interviews at all the big events at least once a year. He did one at the Atlanta Woodworking Show last year when I went, and he's done them the year before with all the other different makers as well. So yeah, that should be out pretty soon.
Who is it?
It's Nate. Is it Nathaniel? I can't think of his surname. Sandoval.
Yeah.
Nathan Sandoval. I think that's. I forget, if I butchered his last name, I apologise.
I think I'm friends with him.
Yeah, it's A Young Man's Workshop. Is his channel. So yeah, that's about all I've got to say for the time being, mate.
Cool.
So back to you, Eloy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. JP Woodwork. Oh, let me ask you a question, JP, before we begin. So, are you using the brand new computer now, or still yet not?
No, that's getting sorted out at the moment.
Okay.
It's actually sitting right here.
Nice. It's still in the box, though.
Yeah.
I would have tore that puppy up and.
No, it's safe in its box at the moment.
I feel like my grandfather.
All the time it's safe in its box. There's no viruses being put on it by me. With me messing it up, setting it up. So.
You're like my grandfather. We used to give him a gift at Christmas. He'd put it in his closet until next Christmas. When he got new gifts, he'd take last year's out and use them. I have no idea why. Never understood it. But
yeah. I'm going to be seeing him again tomorrow, so it should hopefully be all sorted then.
Nice.
Awesome, dude. I can't wait. I can't wait to see. And
I've been recording stuff on the camera as well. So despite, in actual fact, I may actually have on the new camera me getting whacked in the face by a log.
Awesome.
So I might put that in slow motion for everybody, and just because that's a feature of the new camera.
File.
All right, so I'd like to welcome our special guest today, Daniel Harju. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it so much. That I just briefly before we start, I want to mention that I met you through the groups, the secret groups out in the on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say out in the Everglades.
Yep. No, I've never been there. So.
So a couple of years ago, I think you've been in that one secret.
A little over 2 years ago, I found those guys, the community, as it were, and I had no idea previous to that. I'd been watching some YouTube videos and stuff, and come to find out some of those guys were in this group. My neighbor started a DIY woodworking group on Facebook. He invited me to that because he knew what I did. And then shortly after, he said, you got to get into this other group. And that has grown into, I don't know how many groups I'm in now, probably a dozen anyway. Woodworking, turning, making, goofing off, there's all sorts of them. So it's been awesome, really. I've met so many cool people doing this, with the community and the groups that we're all in, and it's really cool. That's the best part of the internet for sure.
It's totally true, dude. It's such a great thing to connect with people and the surprises along the way, and being interested in similar.
We're all, like you've said, we're all kind of individuals in our own space, and if it wasn't for that kind of outlet that you can have right here, like I'm in my shop with the computer, so this is where I am 90% of the time, and you can connect with people who are doing the same thing, can answer questions for you, or like to see what you do, which gets you that gratification to keep going. I mean, I think at the point I joined those groups, or that first group, I was kind of really down with where am I going next? This is just same old. But then I'd see like somebody's, I'm going to make this knife. I'm like, damn, I want to make a knife. So I go make a knife. And it kind of reinvigorates you to have those little side projects when you do this for a living, So
let me ask you, well, there's a few things I wanted to say, but before we do that, because I want to get into at least the timeline. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your background, history, where you're at, where you've been, a little bit of that, whatever you want to share with us, so that we can have, like I mentioned a lot, sort of placement. This is Harju, and this is him telling us, his, where he's been and all that. So give us a little bit of that, if you would.
All right. Well, I'm in Ashby, Massachusetts. That's where the bed shop is. And it's kind of about 50 miles outside of Boston, up on the New Hampshire border. I think we're still in the same county, but maybe not. Anyway, I was born here. My family's from here. I've kind of bounced in and out of here my whole life, in this town, as it were. And my father and grandparents, they came over from Finland in the 50s, and my mother was from here. So I grew up in kind of a bilingual house, kind of interesting. And on both sides of the family, we kind of fixed stuff, and just, if it was broken, we fixed it. My sticker You know, some people have seen it. We trade the stickers in some of the groups as the bent nail. And that's because when I was young, my grandfather would have this big bin of nails he recycled out of somewhere, and we'd straighten the damn nails out and use them again. So that's why I went with that in the beginning. So
That's awesome that you see that ties that in, because I always looked at the bent nail, and of all the things that you do, I always thought, you know, why the nail? I never asked you because, you know, conversations, they go everywhere except, you know, answering why the bent nail? I always had that question. Awesome, dude.
yeah, everybody loves it, but they don't know the story behind it. A few do, because when I first made it, I put it up and I gave the little story. So that's where that came from. So anyway, yeah, I grew up here in this town. I grew for a time. I lived just a quarter mile from where I'm sitting right now, which is inside the shop. And a friend of mine's father owned the place at the time. And I came down the hill at 17 or something and just started working here. I had other aspirations at the time. It was art and art school and all of that. And that didn't pan out when I turned 18 or whatever. We didn't have the money. We got accepted to several colleges. Was going to go to SVA in New York, and just didn't happen. So I kind of fell into this woodworking job down the street, and I dug it. You know, I didn't think it was what I was going to do permanently, but it was cool because there was a lot of creativity in it and lots of different processes and stuff. It was cool. So
Did you right away see the connection? Because art, did you write? Oh, and by the way, I want to thank OJ. OJ, you're so cool, dude. I appreciate that kindly, dude.
yeah.
Did you high five to OJ? Did you at that early stage see the connection with art? Because I didn't see it until a long while.
I mean, I paid pretty close attention to art for a lot of years. You know, that was my aim. You know, I was into comic books and I was drawing all that stuff, and I had gone to like high school honors art classes at the School Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. They'd pick a couple kids out of senior art classes, and I went early. I went freshman year and junior year and maybe sophomore year too, sophomore, junior. And so that was awesome. You get to like live in the real, you know, art school world with, you know, nice studios for every different discipline and all of this. So that was really neat. So I saw what was happening here in this shop in particular at the bed shop.
When you say this shop, you mean the shop where you're at?
Yeah. As far as the bed shop and what they did with the reproduction furniture and the real high style stuff in the carving. Yeah, I saw that as art, you know, pretty instantly. So that's why I liked being in it. I was like, cool, there's a lot of creativity in here, but a lot of it is copying someone else's creativity, or it was at the time. A lot of it now, when people will throw me something to make for them, we'll do it as an interpretation of that rather than a strict copy. Unless they want a strict copy, then we can do that.
Let me ask you a question. I don't want to derail because we're going down this track, but
you drive, man. You steer. I'm just here to answer questions.
well. So the question is, how much originality, and this could become a deep thing, but you know, we could surface sort of talk about it. How much originality? So every artist, it comes from somewhere. I mean, I guess you can have a caveman put a rock on a thing and put like a tooth on it from a saber tooth, you know, just sitting there, and then, oh, look, it's a bird with a nose, beak. But isn't it true that there's a lot of copying that occurs on every level all the time,
not
subconsciously
copying, taking inspiration from other things? That's you know, mega important. I mean, that's it. You see something that someone's done, and you're like, oh my, that's really awesome, and you want to know more about it, how they did it. Not necessarily to copy it, but to, you know, you kind of absorb the things you like and then try and reflect them back in other things that you do. So that's
do you recognize when you consume all this throughout your life, art-wise we're talking, or creativity wise, art wise. It could be writing. It could be, you absorb all these influences. It could be music, whatever. And then you begin the process of producing your thing, your own thing. And then do you recognize as you're going through that, oh, that's sort of like this, and oh, that's sort of like that, and like you recognize in you your, be it drawing or whatever.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, especially, I mean, across the different, like the bed posts, we got all these turn bed posts, and there'll be certain details that they get repeated in different posts. It's like, it's a library of stuff. Like, I have books that I open up as reference for moldings, and I have books that I open up as reference for other things. But after opening those books for so many times, eventually you're like, it's in here anyway, so you don't need the books anymore. And everything else you've ever absorbed is in there as well. So yeah, it's that's
the third part of that, and I just wanted to go down this little conversation just for a moment. But the third part of that is, at one point, once it's all inside of you, it no matter if you see like, oh, this is whatever, Picasso, oh, Cubism, or whatever, right? You see it, but all of a sudden it's integrated into you with all these other things, and this sort of Frankenstein new thing occurs from all these influences, and that you can call your own. Is that accurate, or what do you think about that?
Sure, because I don't know, I'm of the mind that here I am, in this world, and it's not in a selfish way, but if you're not looking at it that it's all to your benefit, then I think you're doing it wrong. We're lucky to have everything that's around us. It's all inspiring on some level. So, but that's like a deep, deep, deep hole. So
totally.
Right. But so I love what I do, and as long as you can find things to love in it, then you'll keep loving it. If you determine that I don't like this anymore, then you have to go find something else that you like.
Yeah. So anyways, that was just a general question, because we've had that conversation, maybe not us particularly, but we've had that sort of conversation in the world of making and drawing and all that. So I just wanted to see your, what your thoughts were on that. But continue, if there's anything else you'd like to add.
Let's see. Where the heck did we leave off? Oh yeah, I came down here when I was 17. So I worked here for a little while. Did some other jobs in between, different shops. I've worked in probably 6 or 7 different cabinet, or not furniture shops, mostly cabinet shops. Furniture shops are few and far between, strictly furniture. I ran a printing press for a while, and then in running that printing press and doodling at my workstation, I got moved over into the graphics design department of that printing company. It was like, you can draw, we'll just have you do this. Like, awesome. So did that for a little while, and then I was in my 20s and had the opportunity to just live on Cape Cod for a year. So I quit that job and went down there and got back into the trades, prefabbing houses. I have done some other jobs I worked in an advertising shop where they modified vehicles for advertising. Like, we would spray down these minivans with foam, 2-part foam, and carve it, and then epoxy it and fiberglass it and paint it, and it come out looking like a giant white rhino that rolled down the road. It's cool stuff like that. So I'd take any job that interested me for a while. I know somebody at some point told me if I was going to do this, full time and go into trade like that, move a lot in the beginning, learn what you can at a shop. Don't stay there too long unless, it's exactly what you want. And they were right. I moved a lot of different times, different jobs, but everyone you go to, you learn something and you take it to the next job with you, and sometimes once you have enough stuff, you start bringing that to new jobs and new places, and that adds value. So your pay goes up. If anybody wanted to do this, like get into making for a living, and they're on a hobby level, I think that would be the best way to get yourself to a point where you can make money doing it. So hop out there and take a part-time job with someone who's been... Cabinet shops are notoriously bad and horrible places to work a lot of times. Like slave drivers and low pay and long hours and verbal abuse, and it's true, but you know, that's kind of your comeuppance, and you learn a lot from those old guys. They just don't tolerate a lot, so it's an interesting world to go through.
It's totally true, dude. We were talking about that the other night too. So a couple of things. One is talking about art, drawing. There's a strange connection with you, some other person, and then JP. And I want to get into that, and I just want to let JP know to sort of you guys explain that. But after that, if you could just roll into who's out there so we know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. First of all, yeah, I'll quickly run through what you're going on, but run through who's out there. Okay, so we've got Jim Bashir's out there, Mark Lindsay, Steve Nealon, Wigwag Workshop, Anna's Workshop, Ragtie is also out there. Yeah, he's made a point to say that he's out there and say the show is going great. So, hello, Mr. Ragtie.
What's up, Rag?
Always welcome, brother. Bob's Lee's Woodshop. I'm out there. Frankie's CNC and Woodworking channel. Doc Hildebrand.
Who?
Jake Thompson. Greg, Snow Crusher from Canada. Also, Mr. Make It Extremes out there. Tom Spillane. OJ. John from Be Happy. Mark Lindsay, have I said that name yet? And I think that's it. Harvey's out there as well. So yeah, that's about. Tell Light and Al Forte's out there as well.
Wow. Hi, everybody.
So yeah, that's about it for the time being. So where do you want us to go from there, Eloy?
Well, heck. So here's the problem. Sometimes, there's a pre-show in the green room, and we always serve pizza and M&Ms with all the brown M&Ms taken out, so they're only the green, yellows, and reds. And there's also a soda fountain, and so we just sit and chit-chat. So in that green room...
Hold on.
That was perfect. Isn't that perfect?
Perfect. Now you don't have to tell the story.
No, we'll listen to the ringing of the phone. And that's some old school phone too. That ain't that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh no, it's not. It's a cell phone with a very loud.
Should we mute him?
No, let's.
Sorry about that. It's probably going to happen again too. I can't do anything about it.
Aren't you gonna? Is that an alarm or?
No, that was a phone.
Dude, you've got the setting, you've got the retro, because from here it sounds like retro, like.
No, we got a loud bell so we can hear it over the machines. When the machines are running in the shop, which is a lot of the time, we got a big bell on the wall that goes off. So.
That just totally damaged the whole flow. So we're gonna start from the beginning. Welcome, Harju.
Aaron.
All right, so you guys were telling a story. So Harju's saying that the drawing, the art.
Oh yeah.
So hit us with that, guys.
All right. Well, let me find the picture we're talking about. Sorry about this. This one. Is that what we're talking about?
And I'll find that picture. Is that what you're talking about?
That's the one. Very nice. Yeah, okay, so that's Izzy, and I gotta stop screen sharing here. I'm not sure how to do it. How's my picture? All right, anyway. That's Izzy Swan, because he was looking for, I think he was rebranding or something. I sketched that up one day in a few minutes and put it out there. He's like, oh, I love that. So I sent it to him, and he started using it for his channel and stuff, and that was cool. So, yeah.
And I got it on my leg.
And now Jamie has it on his leg. Interesting.
So
next to Berkey.
So Harju designed this, and JB Page is now wearing it. So how do you feel about having have you had someone tattoo your art on their leg? That's from England?
No, but
and it's called JP before?
Actually, I probably have artwork on other people. I built a tattoo gun when I was younger and put artwork on people for a little while. It was a bad idea.
Really?
Yeah. My wife actually has a peace sign tattooed on her that I did years ago, before we were dating even. So, yeah. I made a tattoo gun when I was younger.
So a lot of people might not know that image that Izzy Swan uses came from your art.
Right. Oh, that's fine. No, he's giving me credit when it comes up, and that's no problem. But that's the thing. Like, it's nothing for me to whip something like that out and to give it up to somebody in the community so they can benefit. That's cool. So.
And a lot of other people wouldn't know is the burger on my leg came up because Daniel wasn't about.
Because I wasn't about to give him another one.
How's that?
Luckily, Sarah was.
Yeah, and I think
Sarah from Wartooth Designs was in the bar in Atlanta, and I went up to her and says, "Harju ain't about. I need you to design me a tattoo."
Tattoo. Yeah, that was good.
And she did, and that's why I got a burger on my leg.
Yeah, that's cool, and that's a nice thing. Like, I didn't draw much for a lot of years. I drew a lot in high school, and then it just dropped off because I had to work, and having come to some of the communities, the different groups, that some people are artists in it, and it's kind of inspiring me to pick up the pen once in a while a little more and get back at it. So yeah, like they did the Guido Verola and Alex Q or whatever. They pulled a bunch of people into Inktober last time around and got everybody drawing, and that was a lot of fun. So those kind of things, it's super awesome.
Very cool, dude. So let's get into what you do and just the awesome furniture that you do.
Right now, we make, my partner and I, I'm partnered with my best friend for the last 20 something years. Last year we bought the country bed shop. And so primarily what I make is antique reproduction 4-poster beds. Short posts, tall posts with canopies, all kinds of different ones. I think we have 30 or 40 different offerings, but we also do custom ones. We'll do it based on a photo. We do casework as well, like dressers and side tables. And really, if it's an interesting project and it's going to be lucrative, then I'll do anything. If we have the tools and the means to do it. We did some funky tables this year and some other odd projects, but those break up the monotony because I've been making beds off and on for all of the last 27 years. Because even when I was working other places, I was working here part-time or weekends or nights because really I like doing this work, So yeah, and last year I had the opportunity to buy it. So anyway, that's what we do. I mean, I can pull up some pics if you want to see those.
Yeah, that would be great, dude. Share that with us, and give us, like, as you're going through the photos, just break it down. And if we have questions about it, give us the answers if you can.
I've actually got a couple of questions already.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, stop screen sharing for half a second.
Okay, we got to go back.
Or you can stay there if you want, but we'd like to see your expressions as you answer.
Okay.
Harvey's Woodshot says, "What's your favorite bed design, and which design gives you the best night's sleep?"
They all give you the best night's sleep. They're all made the same. My favorite one, I don't know. It changes all the time. I think probably right now it's the last spool bed that we did that I just took out to Nebraska. Took 2 of them out there. And I'll show you a picture of it when I get there. I'll make note, but it's got these bumpy bump all the way down. That one's my favorite right now because I just designed it. You know, that was kind of based on one we already did and a photo the client sent over. This one's kind of just, it's unique to us. You know, it's this configuration I came up with in the spacing, and I just like the way it came out. So, and I'll probably build one for myself, my wife, later this year because she wants one of those now. So that's cool. So that's my favorite one right now until I build a couple more.
OJ's Woodworking Crafts says, what is your favorite thing to do in the shop?
Other than the work?
I guess so, yeah.
Work. Well, listen to music. The music plays constantly in here. That's kind of always been the best thing about most work.
What kind of music?
I'll listen to everything. It doesn't matter. I like the suggestive streaming sites where you plug in some stuff that you like and then they give you other stuff because.
So it could be complete rock and roll to complete pop or rap or whatever.
Classical all the way to hard rock, death metal.
So soulless 2000s pop music.
No, not that so much. That I don't do the mainstream thing. I guess that doesn't happen.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that just for a moment because I was starting to get upset.
There's some good stuff on the radio. It's just you hear it so much. So if I don't listen to the radio as often, then it stays good longer and doesn't ruin it for you in the future. I just think friggin' the internet is awesome for music because it's all out there. There's so much out there that you've never heard, and so it's great. I love that.
All right, and the final one is from John's from Be Happy Woodworking. He said, what's the weirdest thing, not bed making, that you've made in your shop?
Weirdest thing, not bed making. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I think when I worked at that company where we made the modified stuff for advertising, doing the vehicles with crazy outside structures. We did some for Monster Inc., the job search place, and we did their logo Monster on 4 Land Rovers, brand new ones. That was cool and weird. In this shop, the weirdest thing that we've ever made, I can't say. I honestly can't say. We've had some beds that I'm like, well, that's ugly, but that's what the client wanted, so we do it anyway. I don't know. No, nothing exciting and weird.
I was like doing that. I was like, I was about doing this show for Eloy. I was like, well, he's ugly, but I suppose I better do it.
Yeah.
And look at all the wonderful moments that we've all shared and people that we've, interviewed.
Yeah, very true.
33 of them.
Any other question before we dive in?
No, mate, no, that's it. That's it.
Right,
So,
all right.
So show us, and take us through these beds, furniture, and as you do, and I'm gonna present you to the audience, so that means that it'll be fixed on you. And I want to mention that Doc Jared Hildebrandt, a few months ago, mentioned, I was hanging with Harju, and I thought to myself, boy, Harju's scrap wood is other people's what was the saying that he said?
I don't know. I don't remember.
He says he'll probably, if he's out there, he'll probably write it, but he said, boy, Harju's scrap wood is like everybody's exotic pickings or whatever. I don't know how the thing went.
Right.
But
yeah.
Anyhow.
All right.
Is this one of your psychedelic builds that we're looking at?
Psychedelic build. This is the shop. This is where I am right now, up in Massachusetts. It's in the middle of the woods. It's 2 hours from everybody, anywhere. and it's kind of a pain, but it's also nice. So it's the shop in winter. See, it snows up here in New England. We got a phone booth right outside the front door. It's right here.
So you have a phone booth?
Yeah, it's like an old phone booth that the previous
Works?
Yeah, the previous owner salvaged it from nearby city when they were taking them all out. So that's our little claim to fame.
Before you move from that is awesome, dude. That's like, I don't know about the temperature, but it's like freaking awesome. It's ideal because it's in the middle of nowhere, it looks like.
That picture could be like a Christmas card from your company.
Right. And I think it was one year maybe. There's a brook back here. There's a little blacksmith shop over here. And there's some ruins of an old mill up behind here. And it's kind of cool. It's a nice spot. The building's too small. I need it bigger, but that's always the case.
Whoa, hold up a minute. Jake Thompson has just said awesome shop.
Awesome shot.
Right. That's coming from Jake Thompson.
Moving on. I don't know what we're going to get next. All right. That's my son. And there's some blocks I made as a side project for the Spartan race a few years back. And that was a real learning experience. It was like a monstrous job. Got in over my head. Got it all done, but it nearly killed me.
Why explain the getting over your head? The amount of work to do?
Just the sheer quantity and the time involved and just the process and everything.
What was involved with the process?
Acquire all that wood and mill it to size and distress it and then get it laser engraved, and then when it came back, source out all those metal bands and the rivets and then band them and rivet them and then box them and ship them off to Spartan. So it was a pretty big undertaking, and I was doing it kind of at the time. It was going to be my startup project to branch out on my own. And I was still working here at the bed shop. Those pictures are in the bed shop. It was like the first batch I made. So I kind of overextended myself and had to battle back after that, and I ended up buying the bed shop. So it all worked out.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, that was my son. So there's a chest of drawers that we make here. That's one of our standard offerings, based on old 1700s, late 1700s clothing.
Holy smokes, dude.
Yep, and we do all hand painted. And
is there any detail of is it American 1700s? What's going on?
No, it's an American piece, based on American piece. It's got either this 5 drawer or 4 drawer configuration, bun feet that are turned, and the whole outer case is hand dovetailed and all of that, and all the drawers are hand dovetailed. We do everything by hand. We use machines, to mill the lumber, speed the process up, but in the end, everything gets a hand plane, and dovetails are done by hand. So it's all by hand at the end.
Very cool. Could you go back half a second? So that beading around the drawer fronts, is that
that's an applied molding to the front of the case. The drawer fronts are just slab.
Very awesome.
Where it's a double bead, so it's tricky because it's a double bead on all of the pieces except on the drawer fronts. They're single, and then they come in and take over the double bead at the sides and in between the drawers. So it's kind of neat. I like it.
Very cool, dude.
Yeah. We do it with a different detail as well, just a single bead, but this one's nice. It's a bedpost we're carving up, reeded and carved, and we do everything from rough lumber all the way to finish. So we buy our stuff in all rough from a sawmill.
So you hand carve all those details?
Yeah. The reeds and stuff up here, this reeding, I have a converted lathe to router in these rough, so I get a nice registered journal center on these. If I want to do 13 reeds, I've got the wheel indexed off for 13, and it'll space them all out properly. So that saves some time there, but after that you have to go over and dress it all out by hand. But these lower leaves are all carved by hand. We just turn an oversized section there that actually came up in here, and then I had to carve this all back from the peaks of the leaves to go in there and V it. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the carving's a lot of fun, but it's very time consuming. If you're not doing it all the time, especially because you have to get kind of warmed up and find the technique you're going to use on the piece, and and then once you have that all down.
For folks that are interested, curious, or carve, so what are the best or easiest woods to get started carving? What are the ones to stay away from, and a little bit of tools, if you could?
Basswood is the, I guess, preferred practice kind of material. It's pretty easy wood to carve. You don't get a lot of tear out when you screw up on grain direction. It's much more forgiving that way. Walnut, I think, is wonderful to carve for some of the same reasons. If you get a straight grain section, then it's very easy to carve. If it's knotty, or if it's crotchy, it gets a little harder. Grain direction is important. You got to watch which way you're trying to carve and come up with the technique so you don't tear things. So that's what I found anyway. Those Swiss-made tools I think they're the best if you can afford them. They're very pricey, even their entry-level ones. But there's others. I've got some Japanese like knockoff ones, not super expensive, and they're pretty good. It's really about sharpening your tools anyway. Once you learn to sharpen them, it could be a crappy tool. Even if it doesn't hold an edge, you can put the edge back on it. So sharpening is important, and
Okay.
that takes a long time to learn, though.
All right.
I think sharpening is the hardest thing to learn in the shop to do well. It takes a while. There's one of our beds, ball and bell, or a cannonball bed in tiger maple. And here's my coffee cup. It's a Finnish kuksa, I believe is how you say it. And I made that a few years back just for myself. That's a copy of a New Mexican chest that I did some years back here in the bed shop. Some client reached out to us and wanted this. It was in a book. This is ours. I wish I had the book picture because it's almost identical. This was a lot of fun to build. Cedar lined inside, and the applique on there is corn husks and straw, and that's how the original one was done too.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the details way different than early American colonial stuff. So this was outside of our wheelhouse a little bit as far as reproduction, but it was wicked fun to do.
That had to be fun.
Yeah.
And that is that a chain that holds it? What is that?
It's a leather strap.
How'd you fasten the top, and just screws or what? I wonder if we can see.
Yeah, it looks, if I recall, there might be a grommet in this and a screw, and there's a thickened up block of wood here. It was whatever was in the original. We just mimicked that. So,
dude, awesome! I love that.
Yeah, I like this one too. It was cool. It's a knife I made a few years back. Well, a couple years now. This was, kind of when I got in the group and was watching people make knives. I'm like, cool, and they're making it out of reclaimed stuff. So this is out of a saw blade, table saw blade. You can still see the hook there from the tooth. And that was my first knife, so it came out pretty good. I was pumped. Then I made meat cleavers. Same thing, out of saw blades. These are the teeth on the saw. I think this was a 12-inch. No, I think it's a 12-inch blade. You can get two of these out of a 12-inch blade.
Bottle openers on them.
That's it, all done. Kind of looked orcish, somebody said, like from Lord of the Rings. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does. I like that. That's a case piece we did for somebody, custom job a couple years back. Mallets, made some mallets. The walnut pallet. Made
nice.
It's the square I modified because my buddy Rod Reyes had done this. I said, man, that is a good idea because it'll sit up on a piece of plywood now. You leave a little bit of the lip sticking out here, and you can square off the end still. You can adjust these these scales so that they are square, with the screw in there. So, and yeah, that was mine. I dug that thing. There's my sticker. If anyone ever,
Yeah, that was such a cool thing that you told us where that originated from.
Yep.
You look at the you look at the image and you would think, oh, okay, he does like just rustic and nails and this and that, and then you look at your pieces and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I guess the mystery is kind of part of the cool thing. Makes people inquire a little bit about it, and then they find out what else you do. So I think I got drawings coming up next. Some of this is from Inktober this past year, and we were doing Blame Verola. So this was my Buddha. I copied a photo, by freehand and inked it in. That was fun. Here's Izzy. That's what's his head? Actual moron. No, Andy Berkey.
Berkey.
Yeah. And, yeah. Well,
yeah, actual moron. Yeah, you got it right.
If you know him, it's funny.
Before you move on from the Berkey image, I haven't seen this one though. But
no, I doodled this on the back of an envelope that I sent him, and
that's so cool.
Yeah.
My question is, or more like a comment and see what you say. You did recently meet up with Berkey and did a trip out Midwest.
Yeah, Nebraska. That was awesome. Yeah, I had a big delivery, and I asked him like last year when I knew I was doing it if he'd want to go, and he was like, "Oh, definitely, let's do it." So we had a good time. We hung out for 3 days and set up beds and drove around in a van. And
tell the folks, for those that didn't get to see the, and hear about the story, so the beds you made were delivered to a place that's sort of like what would you call, like a monastery? What?
It's a religious retreat that someone built in Nebraska. It's a really incredible place. It's all new and giant lodges and man-made lakes and beautiful landscape they did out there. And yeah, it was really awesome. There was like a dozen or 10, I don't know, designers that were brought in to decorate the rooms, and one of them got wind of us and asked me for some beds. So we did 10 beds for them. And I don't know if they publicly opened it yet. I checked the other day, and it looked like they were still working. But yeah, Cloisters on the Platte out in Nebraska. It's a really neat place.
Yeah, mind-blowing, actually. Like, if I had to describe, I saw that you shared those pictures and this and that, and you were with Berkey on a hangout at one point during your stay, and we looked at and it's like, oh my goodness, dude, this place is like I could live there,
And that's the great thing about this job, when you get those kind of experiences, to go places like that and see where the end. A lot of times I don't see where the beds go. They just go, and I don't see where they get put. I deliver a lot of beds now too and set them up so I can talk to the client and see where they're going and all that. But yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. That's a sketch of me, and then I inked it in. Awesome. There's that quicker sticker thing that was going on for a little while. I threw that one in there. And back to beds. This is one we did a couple years back. It's got this weird big acorn on top, but I kind of dug it. So that's custom. That's a custom. Like, we don't offer that as a regular bed. We have one that's similar, but everything's a little worn off.
But so wait, before you go away from that, I have a quick question. So, did the customer, come to you and say, we want this, or create something that's outrageously different, or?
No, this was close to one of our other beds that we did, but they wanted an acorn on top instead of, I think it had a simple spade on top, and it was a little different in the neck. So that happens a lot with what we offer. Like, the pictures of our beds that we offer, people say, I'd like that, but can I have this detail in it, or do this? So it's very rare that we get to just make one to our specs that we have on record on our cut list. So
and also I was surprised that, like, I guess you could explain that in a further photo, but those slats that go, on the bed,
Yeah.
they have like dowels that connect with them. I
Right.
don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah. No, we got a neat little support system there for holding those wooden slats. And those slats, we used to do them with plywood years ago. And a lot of beds come with slats, but they'll give you 4 or 5 in there. We do 12 or 13, fill the whole field. And to keep them located, we have another sub rail under there that has dowels in it, and they locate on the dowels, so it keeps them nice. And the slats are easier to ship. I mean, we ship all over the country, so it's hard to ship 1/3 sheets of plywood compared to these slats, which we can bundle up a little tighter and ship more economically than sheets of plywood. Some more carving that I did a little while back for some finials on top of bedposts.
Very awesome.
Yeah. The carving takes time, but it's rewarding when it's all done. Before sanding, they're still a little rough here, but essentially all done.
How long would something like that take you? Like just one of them for argument's sake.
I think that I was on this set of finials for 4 days. Yeah, so it was like 40 hours to do. No,
Wow.
maybe something like that. 40 hours or so to do all 4 of them.
So you're talking a day each?
Yeah, from start to finish, really, that's what it was. Because you turn out a blank in a sort of urn shape and then lay it out and have at it. The first one kind of dictates what the other 3 are going to look like. You sketch it out on there and just go at it. So at least that's how I approach it. It's based on a photo someone sent us, but the photo was terrible, so we kind of had to interpret it the best we could.
Do you go back and forth with the person when there's a situation like that, and you're like, well, the photo's not that great? How, know?
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll do drawings for people. If they want something and they send a photo, I will end up having to do a line drawing anyway to figure out how I'm going to attack the carving. So if I just do that in the beginning for a client, they appreciate the hell out of it. And I have to do it anyway for me in the shop so that I can understand what I'm going to make.
JP?
Al Forte just asked, what kind of wood were they?
Those were poplar. These finials here, that's poplar. It was getting gold leaf painted and stuff like this, and with a lot of heavy painting and faux on it. So that's what they asked for anyway. We tried to steer them into something else. I would prefer to do it in soft maple, but it's essentially the same. It's just poplar has a lot more movement, but they were putting so much finish on it, I don't think it was going to be an issue. There's a bed that, again, based on a photo someone sent us that was kind of the bed that they sent us wasn't constructed the same way. It had the same look in the end, but I changed the whole construction of it. And this is one we're starting to offer now. I haven't actually added it to our lineup yet, but it's coming.
And are those, what's on the side? Is that like rope?
Mm-hmm. It's fake rope. I mean, old beds were roped, and they just wanted that as a detail on the outside. Once the mattress is in, you can't tell that there's slats. People will think that it's roped. We do a lot of roped beds and stuff like that still. So,
who were the people, since I'm sure you do all, the research and stuff and curiosity, who were the people back in the day, say the 1700 ones? I mean, these weren't common beds that folks generally, I mean, I don't know, but I would sort of guess that these weren't like just your run-of-the-mill beds. These were more high-end for the people at the time, or did just everybody have, these beds? I don't think that's the case.
No, I mean, beds, some were really rudimentary, 4 posts and 4 rails and a low plank headboard, and they would probably all be held together by ropes for a long time. Blacksmiths, the early ones were just roped together, and then later, when you had a blacksmith available that could spend his time to make some bed bolts, they would start bolting beds together. And then the rope system gave way to either slats or a thing they call sacking cloth, which looks like a sailcloth that's suspended in the center of the bed. Sometimes you'll see beds with pegs on the rails instead of rope holes. Sometimes they have holes in them. Sometimes they have pegs on top. If it's pegs on top, it wasn't rope like this. It was that sailcloth, and they used a sacking to stitch it on. I have a picture of one of those on right here. See, this is a sacking cloth.
Very cool, dude.
In the center, and these pegs on the outside, it's laced to that, so it's, you know, that's what you see.
Smokes.
Yeah, that's one we made for a woman from. This is, you know, influenced by other beds, but my design that we made for a woman last year. So it's all brand new.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Incredible.
That one I'm going to put on the website and offer soon too, because I like how it came out.
Where'd you get all of your designs from? Do you say it's like a mixture of lots of designs put together, or is it just on the fly?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's when people have a specific sort of period they want. I know which designs, which details were typical in that period. There's a lot of different things. Like this top is something kind of came from a Sheraton era, which, I gotta think of the dates. I can't even do it. We do another bed that has a similar top, and that's from a Sheraton field bed. This is essentially a Sheraton style bed, but it's really, really tall, and these are a bit bigger, I think, than they would have been in size, mass wise for that time. But
how far back have you gone with the, you know, what you call reproductions as far as time?
We do like Pilgrim era, a few simple Pilgrim era beds, which is, you know, 1600s, all the way up to Civil War type stuff. That's generally the scope of the pieces that we offer. But again, we'll do more modern stuff as well. We have some of those on our website, which are more modern, just square tapers and things like that.
Your website is the Country Bed Shop. Actually, Country Bed Shop, right?
Countrybed.com.
And if you look down in the description, you guys can check out Harju's website and other links as well, Instagram, because you put up a lot of your photos, or not every photo, but a lot of the photos on Instagram as well, yeah?
I do. Yep, I try to anyway. Someone told me a little while back that I should be on Instagram more. And I said, okay, I'll try it. Yeah, I got quite a few followers just from throwing pictures out there. And you know, it's a weird thing though, like Instagram. You have to, when you're running a business, especially, you have to be careful of how you present yourself, where you present yourself. So
yeah,
in the inside of our groups, you know, I'm a little more irreverent than I am on my Instagram. I'll kind of try and keep things a little more PC out there, and you have to do that. You know, I see some guys that don't, and I'm like, ooh, that's probably not a good idea, but and whatever, to each his own. So that's, yeah, I'm on Instagram as well. I think I'm Harju Daniel.
Yep.
Daniel on Instagram.
And on YouTube as well, I have it linked down there. But if you would check later on to see if there's any links that I'm missing. I also have JP there and my stuff. I want to thank Anna. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for supporting Anna's Concrete, Anna's Workshop.
Go Anna. Yeah, so I can go on and on with the pictures, man. I don't know if there's anywhere else you want to go with this today.
Oh no, we still got a ways to go. You're not escaping that unless you've got like to go through the woods in order to reach civilization, because you're in the middle of nowhere right now.
No, I'm good.
And by the way, it's great the connection that you have in the, because most people that are in the middle of nowhere have crappy internet connection, dude. Have you not noticed this?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, but at least there's cable internet here, so
it's freaking awesome, dude. The picture's clear. Although you do drop sometimes. Let me not. You know what? I shouldn't. I'm good at jinxing stuff like that. When we're on Hangouts.
Oh yeah, last night I was having problems. I don't know what the heck was going on, but it was just being weird. Sometimes it gets glitchy out here, but for the most part, it works pretty well. Well enough that I can, run a business out of the middle of nowhere up here. So it's cool.
Amazing, dude. And the wood and the different wood species that you use, because you use, let me get this straight, exotic domestics.
Yeah, I guess walnut. Most of the stuff we do is soft maple. We'll use maple for painted beds, and everybody yells at me all the time, "Oh, you paint that beautiful maple." I'm like, well, it takes paint really well. The soft maple does. The hard maple not so much, and it's durable. It's better than the poplar. So, and that little bit extra quality we have to do. And yeah, tiger maple, walnut. We don't do a lot of oak. We do some ash. We do mahogany as well, but that's harder to get these days, and there's not as much call for it. The funny thing is, I've been doing this for a while, and there's trends, and they come around, and then they go out, and then they come around again. So there's certain beds that'll all of a sudden be popular, sell 10, 12 of one in a year, and then won't sell them again for 5 years, and then it'll be something else that's popular. It's the same with the wood species too. For a while, it was everybody wanted white painted stuff, and then that went away, and everybody wanted black stuff, and then everybody wanted tiger maple for quite a while, and then it was cherry, just oil rubbed cherry, and so it changes. Right now, it's walnut. Walnut's hot.
Dude, I love walnut, but that tiger you sent me, so a few, just to talk about this, you sent me lathe tools, traditional ones. You sent me some blanks. Man, that tiger maple is freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah, we get nice stuff. We pick it out. I have to go pick it out, and we have one lumber supplier we use about an hour and a half for me. I go there and pick out stock. And then I have another one that I order from in Pennsylvania, and he's the guy who sends me the tiger maple, and he'll pick it out. He knows what I need and the caliber of stuff that I need. So yeah, my cutoffs are really nice. And with the bed production, a lot of the cutoffs I have, I just can't use. They're too small. So they pile up, and then I sell them off to other makers super cheap, or there's a school. One of the guys in the groups teaches at a school. I'll send him off with a truckload of lumber, for short price, because it's all been paid for, essentially. We've done a project with it. It's a cutoff. If I can make more money on it later, awesome. But at some point, it gets to be too much. So I'm happy to do that and send it to people, and or sell it to people at ridiculously low rates because they appreciate it. Like guys like you don't get a hold of that all the time. I get it all the time. So,
dude, it was like, I just want to interject half a moment. Let me see if I've got it here. It's sitting outside on the bench, but I took the blank, and I was like, because I just started with the lathe, and so I've been using pine to practice and this and that, and so I took the other day. I got the courage to pick up, and I picked up the blank, and it's a tiger maple, and I looked at it, and and I'm like, I'm gonna do this, but there was sweat because it's rare for me, and I put it on the and stuff. I managed out of that one piece to get 2 boxes out, and they snapped together perfect, dude. They snap. Yeah. Like with the pine, it's sort of like but with that, it's like perfect.
Yep. No, it's nice stuff to work with. I like this stuff. I think that's my favorite wood is the tiger maple because it's just so awesome. Right?
But the fun. Okay, so I guess I'm enjoying the irony of it. So you're done with the job, and you have all these pieces which are considered scrap or cutoffs from the. Well, these are high-end pieces, like.
Oh, I know. I go to Woodcraft, and I'm like, I look at the stuff, like I got a piece here. This cutoff of sapelli that I got from making bedposts. If I go to Woodcraft, it's like $50. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, yeah,
right. But I'm here bringing it over to the lathe. Like there's some sort of ceremony in my mind, hoping that nothing goes wrong.
Dude, you saved it from my wood stove because there's so much. I have like 4 cords of stuff like that is behind the shop that we burn in the fire. Yeah, so
So when are you going to start shipping internationally?
it's crazy. I know, right? I could just probably, strap it all on a pallet and push it that direction in the ocean.
Yeah, because it goes down. Oh, yeah. Like the currents will push it. Just push it down a mountain.
I might have to push it north. I don't know how that goes. Might come up and loop around. Yeah. Happy to do it. Yeah, we'll do that. Next time I'm at the beach, I'll start chucking pieces in the ocean. I'll write your name on them.
Yeah.
Before it'll get here eventually, right?
Well, that's
funny. What?
If I did that, if I wrote Jamie's UK address on chunks of wood and threw them in the ocean out here, people would find them on the beach and mail them back to you because they'd think that you threw them in over there in England. So that's how
you're never going to get rid of them?
I'm going to get you free wood. I'm going to do it next time I'm at the beach.
Return to sender, Before I ask the next question, are there any questions at the moment?
Yeah, there's one from Jake Thompson. He says, have you or will you do a shop tour video?
A shop tour video? I might have one somewhere. I'll take a look. It's probably brief if I do. I'll share it if I can find it somewhere.
Jake, if you look on his channel, Harju's channel, he's got a video there where he... What was that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Tell him.
Well, he goes through the process, right, showing you what he does, and just very awesome video. But we were talking prior, Jake, and Daniel's super, super, super busy. And so I don't know what his future plans are with the YouTube, but you can see his stuff on his website, and he's on Instagram active, right, as well as on the Facebooks.
The YouTubes. My YouTube channel's sad. There's only like 4 or 5 videos there, but yeah, the bed shop one is one of them where we build a whole bed. You can watch that. It's not so much about the shop, but you get a little bit of shop glimpse in there. I mean, you can see it behind me. We got a lot of tools in here. I could really use a bigger shop, but I can't do that right now. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff. We use it all too, everything in here. So
how big is your shop?
I think on the outside it's 36 by 40, so inside a little smaller than that.
Looks huge to me, dude. It's like there's plenty of space, but then again, you make huge pieces.
Yeah, you always outgrow the space. It doesn't matter. You fill it up with stuff, and
not Jake though. Not Jake.
No,
Jake could put a couple of planes inside of his, and it still wouldn't outgrow it.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice someday.
Have you seen his airplane hangar of a shop?
No,
I don't. Or maybe I have. I may have. I know I've seen a couple big ones in there.
It's the size of a football field.
Do you have the lifts inside? Or is that somebody else? Somebody's got like...
No, that's his other one.
Oh, okay.
He's got 2, right? But he's got this massive one, and he did a video joking around because we always joke around because when you're in his shop, you hear echo because it's it's like an indoor stadium of size. And he was, I guess, enjoying the joke of it. And one day he put out a video where he takes, like, I don't know if it was a football, I don't know what he throws it on camera. Then he starts working with his kids and stuff on a project. And like the video's going on, he's working, the ball's showing through the air. He's working, and then at the end of the video, he runs to the other side and catches the. It's freaking funny, dude.
Brilliant. That's nice. I'll have to watch that.
Any other questions there, JP?
No, that was it at the moment.
Okay, so here's my next question, just so that we have this, on tape. This is like 1973. Tell us the tools that you use in the shop. Give us a little bit of a rundown of your shop and the tools, just how you see it in your mind? That's what we're interested in. As if you're in the shop alone and you're looking around and this is this area, and just how you would think of it in your brain.
Oh,
Unless you don't think of it, you just do.
I don't. If I thought of it, then I'd be rearranging the whole place all the time.
Then lie to us.
No, I mean, we've got it sort of grouped up. Like my milling happens in one corner over there. Wood comes in the back door, and we've got the radial arm saw to length it, and the big bandsaw. We got a giant 36-inch bandsaw. It's a old American. That's where we rough saw everything, and then we got a big joiner and a giant planer where I rough things sort of more, and then I've got a newer jet helical head joiner planer combo thing that I love that thing. I'll dress stuff off with that before I get to, especially when we're using figured woods, because the big old planer tears the crap out of it. So we'll take that and smooth things down. We've got a giant 2-drum sander back there. It's one of those Performax, so it's easy to move around. It does a fair job. We've got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 lathes in here. 1 for hand turning, 1 for template pattern work, 1 for doing my reading and fluting. Another one set up to do end boring. So, and those work all the posts and the rails, every bed. And what else? Then we kind of sand wherever we can. We got 3 workbenches in here. So my partner's on one all the time. And I tend to occupy 2 because I just have all this paperwork and crap laying around. So yeah, that's pretty much our workflow. It comes in the back door and then goes out the front door. We do have a spray booth, got a small spray booth attached. It's maybe, I think inside it's like 7 wide and maybe 20 long, with some racks in there so we can spray our stuff and not get dust all over it. We got a blacksmith shop as well outside, separate. It's just a little maybe 10 by 12 building with a coal forge in it. And I got a trailer outside that's stuffed with wood. Giant, I don't know, it's a 40-foot box trailer with racks in it. And yeah, that thing's just full of wood. So we empty it out and then we fill it back up. And then we empty it out and fill it back up. So, yeah.
And I see behind you, you have templates for the wood all the way back there.
Yep. Back over here.
Yep.
Those are all patterns.
And how does
different things?
That's for what lathe? I mean, what do you just like put it on the piece, and how does, just give us a brief thing of how that works when you're doing the posts
over there, because I'll lose you. So posts, the standard offering posts that we do for years and years and years, everyone got turned exclusively by hand, and to turn 4 bedposts by hand on the hand lathe would, take a couple days, or at least a whole day. Now, back about 15 years ago, we came across a deal on a really nice German pattern lathe. You have to make your own patterns to go onto the thing. So we took a lot of our standard offerings and made patterns for them. It's got its limitations because of the angle of the knife and all this. There's certain things it can't do, which you could do with a fancy CNC lathe. So we still take everything off that lathe after, and then I'll go over and do the ends off by hand, go in and address these little details that aren't exactly how I want them off that pattern lathe. So we'll change those up. If it's a one-off though, a custom, like someone's only ordering 1 bed, I probably won't make patterns for it unless I want to make that again in the future. I'll just make a story stick and turn it by hand.
Do you ever have to? I hate to say, I'm totally interested. I love the shop, what you do, and so I'm curious. Do you ever not do the template and then find that you had to go back and do a template for something that you had previously done, or no?
No, I always do some sort of sketch or drawing or story poll before I make
Okay.
turn anything. Because yeah, I mean, unless it's just something for me, like strictly like I'm just doing this for fun or for practice or to try a technique. Because my hand turning experience has been very limited over the first 20 years of me doing this. I just didn't do it a lot. And then at some point, I kind of forced myself on it. Like, hey, I got to learn how to finish off these posts. So I took it there first. I would just do the little finish off parts. And then from there, I played with it more and more and more and took some lessons. That's freaking key, man. If you're trying to get better at turning and you can go spend some time with a really good teacher, that's awesome. You'll learn so much. Everyone does it different.
I did a 4-hour online class with Temple Boy Turnings last week.
Yep.
Which was cool. And originally, Mark Saunders was down here and gave me some early tips. But
yeah,
you know, it's such a what a tool. You know, it's such a great tool. You know,
it is fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to use. It's relaxing, except at times when you can't screw up. So that's a little different, you know, compared to the guys who are hobby turning and stuff. I think it's a little more stressful for me in here because I've got a $400 chunk of wood on a lathe, and if I screw it up, I got to go get another $400 chunk of wood. So that's intimidating sometimes. But at the same time, you have to screw it up pretty bad to throw it away. There's a lot of fixes. There's a lot of ways to repair stuff. There's a lot of ways to change everything else because this one came out different. And it's actually, beds are pretty forgiving because, you know, my posts aren't this far away. They're this far away from each other. You know, you can't really visually compare them side by side once the bed's made up.
But the posts are the ones, it's apparent, but the posts are like, as far as the headboards, that's one thing, you know, but the posts are the ones where you're like spending a lot of time on.
Yeah. Generally turn posts, you know, for finishing, for sanding the successive coats, it's a lot more time consuming than doing a square post. That's for sure. We've got some new things. I'm trying to speed that up a little bit, but there's also what, you know, it's the nature of what I do that it is supposed to take some time. You know, if you can rush it, you can, you know, modernize your process, but you have to be careful because when you do that, you start to lose the handmade aesthetic.
Yes.
That is what we make. So if I go too far down the road of mass producing, you know, you lose that. You lose the individuality in each piece and that kind of thing, which that's what our clients are looking for. You know, they're looking for a handmade piece. They're not looking for IKEA furniture or they wouldn't come here. So,
right. JP, any questions from you or from someone out there?
One quickly from me. Casper Mattress, yes or no?
A what now?
Casper Mattress, yes or no?
I don't know. I like the purple one. I want to try that, but I've never. I think I watched the ads for Casper, but I like the purple ads better, so I think I would go with that one if I was going to try a new mattress.
Dollar Shave?
No.
Right, we got a question from the Wood Barber. He said, if you're making 4 posts, do you copy the template for all 4, or do you copy the first post you turned?
Both. Sometimes it's the post. Sometimes I'll go right to the template. It kind of depends on the post itself. It also depends on how much time I have available. Because to turn the first post is slower than to make the template for me at this point. I can draw a line with a Sharpie like nobody's business, you know. So a lot of times I'll take that stock over there, back here, the blank stock, and draw a center line on it and just start sketching out what I want the post to be. it's the same process. I could take that and go over there and hand turn the post, or I could just take and cut this thing and then put it on the lathe and run that post and then go dress out the details that aren't exactly perfect. Sometimes what I'll do, because it's awesome, I'll take that pattern lathe and I'll just turn cylinders and then take the cylinders over to the lathe, because it saves so much time for me to start at the round than having to round it out myself. I can do something else while that machine does that, and then take that cylindered piece over to the other lathe and do the hand bit. So it's kind of a weird, depends on the situation and how much time I have available. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. There's another one from Al Forte. He said, are the posts made whole or in pieces and put together?
Whole whenever we can do it. Some of the posts we do, like the turnings will be bigger than the square. Those ones, my square comes up and then I've got a vase or something that's bulbous outside of that square dimension. Those we'll do in 2 pieces. Just for, I could make it out of a giant chunk of wood and turn that down and then saw it out square below, but it's kind of a waste. So those pieces we'll do. Everything else we do in solid 1 piece. Yeah, I can turn like 10 feet in here, so there's no need except for stock limitations or design limitations to 2-piece them. And yeah, if I was doing that, we wouldn't be selling them, because you can get that at a furniture store.
Yeah. I suppose I'm gonna ask this one because no one else has yet. Has anyone come to you and asked you to make, for argument's sake, a circle bed or anything like that yet? Because obviously, I know you can get circle mattresses because you see them in like luxury houses and all that sort of stuff.
Not yet, but I'd totally entertain that because I like doing radius work. So why not?
I don't know why when you said that I thought of like 1960s. Who was that guy? Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. See, that's what I was thinking.
Or our man
Flint in the movies.
Our man Flint before that had the round bed. Yep. Now I thought the same thing. No, but are you asking for yourself or for a friend? What was that about?
Yeah, that would be awesome, dude.
There's another question. So, what is the longest post that you've had to make?
Oh, I think like 120 inches is where we've maxed out. I've only got a 10-foot ceiling, so we've never made anything that doesn't fit in here. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, there's apparently there's heart-shaped beds and.
So basically, if we're gonna go get funky, let's go funky.
I think I've opened up a Harju rabbit hole here.
No, yeah, I don't do a lot of platform beds. We don't tend to do that. I've had a few people ask, and it's.
Who said heart-shaped bed though? Apparently, because JP says apparently.
Al Forte. I think he'd want one in the shape of the Starship Enterprise or something like that.
I was thinking the same thing because Al loves Star Trek. It'd be cool. It'd be cool, dude. I hate to. I can't help it. Making a bed, sure, it'd be smaller, but like the ones they had on the Starship Enterprise with that sort of textile. I don't know. It looked like metal / 60s.
Yeah,
it was good stuff.
That's upholstery. I don't get into
that. Oh dear.
Those upholstery guys are weird.
Okay, so can I ask my question?
Go on in.
Okay, so just sort of like rounding home here. My question is: any words of advice, thoughts, inspiration for people that would want to establish themselves, and make things in this professional manner, hang-ups that they might come across and not want to move forward, overcoming these things. Just, you know, give us a whatever thought springs to mind from what I just said.
Yeah, I wish there was an easy answer for that. I mean,
Do you have a solution for the universe? Go ahead.
Grow a beard.
No. No, but I mean, if you wanted to get to where you can make for a living, all I know about that is everybody's road's a little different, but at the same time, if that's what you want to do and that's the end goal and everything, you just try and kind of steer that way the whole time. It'll happen, but you're going to screw up, especially, you know, I see guys who are really gung-ho. They're like, this is I want to do this, and yeah. Overextending yourself is terrible. You know, it'll just wipe you out emotionally, physically, all of that. You got to pace yourself a little bit. Keep the end goal in mind, but just enjoy the process on the way, because there's so much to learn about all this stuff. You know, if you're starting from scratch and want to go to making X, Y, you know, there's just so much in between. And something as simple as I'm just going to make these beds, well, there's a lot more around that, you know, with running the business and marketing and, you know, employees, all that stuff. How big you're going to be, are you going to do custom, are you going to just make your own stuff? You know, there's so many decisions to make, and you can only know the right one for yourself. You can ask everybody else what they've done and learn from their experience, but it's all on you.
So take the journey.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about anyway. It's about the experience. So enjoy it while you're trying to learn it, you know, or trying to figure yourself out, because that's what everybody's trying to do anyway.
That's a very good thing, dude. I appreciate your time.
Don't be scared to fail either.
No, absolutely not. It's going to happen, you know. It's just
failure's part of the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the beating yourself up after the failure, and you know, that kind of thing, going down to or making it stop you. If it's really what you want to do, you know, the failure is part of the education. So it's not a big deal, especially now. I'm not too worried about it, but having failed a few times, you start to recognize, like, oh shit, you know, I'm getting a little too busy maybe, so I'll raise my prices and slow things down. You know, sometimes you have to do that, or just take less work, or say no to people. You know, that's the other thing. A lot of guys starting out say yes to everything. You gotta watch out for that. You gotta pace yourself. So, because I've done it, and I think I still do it a lot. I'll just say yes to people and try and jam it all in, and then people, jobs are late, and people are mad, so that's bad.
Yeah. JP, are there any last questions from the chat?
Not really, no. Has anyone ever asked for a 4-poster dog bed?
Funny, yes. Yep. I just did one a year or two ago for a woman. She actually found an antique bed that she wanted, and it was down in, I think it was in Connecticut, and I went and picked it up and modified it so she could have it as a small bed for her 2 corgis. And it's okay. If you want to do that, that's great. So, yeah, I've done dog beds, yes.
Yeah, that was the last one I saw. So.
All right. So let me ask you this. Did you enjoy the show?
Yeah. It's first interview ever, so I think it went okay.
Well, we're honored, dude, about that. I'm really appreciative of your time and the information that you've shared from your perspective. I mean, freaking awesome, dude. Okay. So I'll ask you this then. Will you come back and see us?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll do it again. See where we are in a year or two. See what's developed, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we have
months, or 2 weeks, whatever.
Well, we have expectations of changing the name to the Mad Maker Show as the years progress. We're just going to add another mad to it.
The super mad.
Super
Yeah.
Mega Man.
All right. So
Awesome.
JP. Oh, actually, Arju, is there any shout outs, where you'd like folks to check out your stuff? I did mention Instagram, but maybe that's not exactly what I don't know.
My personal Instagram is the one you'll see, what I'm doing on. That's Harju Daniel at Harju Daniel. The Country Bed Shop is countrybed.com, and we're on Facebook, the Country Bed Shop, and I think we're floating around on Pinterest and some other places. I have to focus more on my social media, I guess. So yeah, you can find us. If you Google the Country Bed Shop, you'll see what we do. And yeah, Facebook, we try and post there pretty regular. So yeah, and the groups, the woodworking groups, I'm lurking in a lot of them. So if there's anybody in some of those and they see me in there, here I am.
The groups.
The groups.
All right, JP.
Just one final thought. How do you pronounce your last name?
All right. So the Finnish inflection is Harju. It's kind of a soft H and a rolled RJY thing. But Harju is, phonetic and fine for all my non-Finnish friends. So yeah, that's it.
There we go.
Awesome. So I'm sorry, JP. I just wanted, because Doc really freaking messed my stuff up one night. I don't know if it was on a live show. I don't know if it was where it was, but he says, no, don't, or maybe it was a hangout for the Scratch podcast, but he says, no, you don't say it like that. And, I think it was on the Scratch. I mentioned you on Scratch, and
I think I got a show up there one time.
He scolded me, and I felt embarrassed because, I have that issue too with my last name, and what are you going to do? But now you say this, so I feel like, okay. Sorry, JP.
Now it's documented. You can go back if you can't remember.
It's all good. That's it now. I think. Actually, I think there's one thing is the Wood Barber's been out in the chat all night, so I just want to quickly give him a shout out. So yeah, go and give him some love and go and subscribe to him as well. He's fairly new to the YouTubes.
Cool.
So yeah, that's it from me.
That's it from you. All right. Well, so guys, I want to thank our guest, Harju. Thank you so much for doing this. Again, like I said, very appreciative. I know that you're a busy guy. We're running late, but the good thing is that we've actually captured this interview, and now, in syndication, folks can check it out, and there's documentation of your thoughts and whatnot. So very happy about that. Thank you for doing that, JP. As always, dude. Without you, what do we got? We got nothing. Nothing. Right. So, guys out there, thank you for hanging out with us. Next week, we'll see you here at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
On time.
On time. Well, we were a minute late. We were eating pizza in the green room. So, guys, have a great week, and thank you for visiting.
Thank you. See you later.